I'm looking at section 5.2 homework, problem 9, and maybe we'll also look at problem 10 or 11, just to make sure everybody is acquainted with the proper procedure for using the graphing utility that Pearson provides us in MyMathLab. The function given here, f of x equals 2 to the x minus 5, is pretty clearly seen to be the transformation of the exponential function 2 to the x, but it's shifted 5 units to the right. Substituting x minus 5 for x shifts the graph 5 units to the right. So we indicate that the base is 2, and we want to shift the graph 5 units to the right. We check the answer, and of course it's good with it. Now it's a follow-up question that presents the challenge. How do we get MyMathLab to display this graph? Well, let's give it a look. Click the graph, choose a tool in the palette, and follow the instructions to create your graph. All right, I'm going to choose a tool. So the tool I want is the exponential tool because it's an exponential function, a transformation of one that I want to graph. So I'll click that tool. Now I'm going to click any point at all. Just click the graph. There we go. Now, the default for this is an exponential function with base e. We don't want that in this case. We want an exponential function with base 2. So the first thing you want to do is change the base. It's down here in this field. Delete the e, put a 2 in there instead. Now it's a matter of making sure the transformation is clearly indicated. So this is a horizontal shift 5 units to the right. Now to shift, now notice how the graph moves when we move this slider. It moves to the right when we slide in the positive direction. It moves to the left when we slide in the negative direction. If we want to indicate that it's a transformation 5 units to the right, then it's a horizontal shift of plus 5. There's no reflection here. I'm just going to leave it with the horizontal shift of plus 5 with a base of 2. Close this out and then click Save. Then we'll check the answer and see if it gives us credit. All right. Excellent indeed. Let's move on to the next question. Sketch the graph of f of x equals 2 to the x plus 2. Well, if we add 2 to the right-hand side of the equation, this shifts the graph 2 units upward. So, to sketch the graph, let's use the exponential tool. Click the graph anywhere. It's a vertical shift 2 units up, so that's in the plus direction. Notice when I slide the slider, it'll make the graph go up and down for the vertical shift. There we go, up and then down. So the positive direction is up, and we want positive 2. So leave it right there. Almost forgot to change the base. Right now it's graphing e to the x plus 2, but we want to graph 2 to the x plus 2. So change the base from e to 2. We've shifted it 2 units in the positive vertical direction. Close out this window. Click Save, check the answer, and we're good. Next question, let's see, actually same question as we continue. This is the basic exponential function y equals 2 to the power of x, and it is shifted up 2 units. Check the answer. Good job. Let's move on to the next question. E to the negative x minus 3. All of that is up in the exponent. Now there are 2 ways of arriving at e to the negative x minus 3 by carrying out transformations. But MyMathLab wants us to do the shift first. Since it's up in the exponent, up close to the x variable, it's going to involve the horizontal direction. So this is a horizontal shift. So I'm envisioning 2 transformations here. One, notice I'm covering up the negative sign. You might notice that. I don't know if you see where my cursor is in the screen capture, but I hope you do. Imagine that we want to go from y equals e to the x to e to the x minus 3. To do that, we would substitute x minus 3 for x, and that would shift the graph 3 units to the right. Now that's before that negative sign shows up right in front of the x. So if we take the graph of, and I'm going to type in the number e here, if we shift the graph y equals e to the x to the right 3 units, then that would give us the graph of e to the quantity x minus 3. Now, when we substitute negative x for x in the expression that results, that's what changes the signs of all the x coordinates and results in a y-axis reflection. So it's going to reflect the graph about the y-axis. Check the answer, and it is good. Let's sketch the graph. Once again, I'm going to choose the Exponential tool. Click the graph anywhere. Now, no sliders here. The base is the default e, and now we don't have to change it because we're actually graphing f of x equals e raised to a power. So we'll leave that alone. There are two transformations. First, we're considering a horizontal shift, and the horizontal shift is 3 units to the right, so that'll be positive 3. Watch the graph and notice when I click away from this field, it should move the graph 3 units to the right. Here goes. There. After we do the horizontal shift, we want to follow this with a reflection across the y-axis. I'll check the box, and let's see if we get the y-axis reflection just as soon as I check the box. There we go. This should be the graph of f of x equals e to the quantity negative x minus 3. I'm going to close this window, click Save, check the answer, and we're good.